Welcome back to Sleep-Bound Traveler. Tonight, we are going somewhere special, somewhere the ancient and the magical collide, where Gothic streets lead to impossible architecture, where mosaics dance in the fading light, and where life moves to a rhythm all on its own. We're going to Barcelona, where the visionary architect Antoni Gaudí transforms stone and ceramic into living dreams, where the rhythm of life moves slowly, intentionally, beautifully, from morning coffee to afternoon siesta, from sunset strolls to late evening meals shared with friends. Barcelona is a city that teaches you how to live, how to pause, how to savor, how to be present in each moment without rushing toward the next. As we begin this journey together, I invite you to settle into complete comfort. Adjust your position one last time. Let your body sink more deeply into your bed. Feel the support beneath you, holding you, allowing you to release all effort, all tension. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose and let it go with a gentle sigh. Again, breathing in and out. One more time. In and out. Beautiful. We arrived in Barcelona on a perfect late afternoon in early October. The intense heat of summer has mellowed into something warm but gentle. The tourist crowds have thinned. The city belongs once again to those who know how to move with its rhythms, how to embrace the Spanish philosophy of poco a poco, little by little, step by step, moment by moment. We'll begin in the Gothic Quarter, walking through streets where Romans once walked, where medieval merchants traded, where history lives in every stone. We'll visit Gaudí's magnificent La Sagrada Familia, standing in awe beneath its soaring columns. We'll climb to Park Güell, where whimsy and wonder create a mosaic dreamscape. We'll walk along the Mediterranean shore, feeling sand between our toes and salt air on our skin, and we'll end our evening as the Spanish do, with tapas and wine, sharing food and conversation as the stars emerge overhead. There's nowhere else you need to be, nothing else you need to do. Just be here with me as we discover the peaceful heart of Barcelona together. Let's begin. We arrive in Barcelona's Gothic Quarter just as the afternoon is beginning its gentle descent towards the evening. The time is around 6 o'clock, that perfect hour when the day's activities are winding down. The pace of life noticeably slows down. The Gothic Quarter, very Gothic in Catalan, is the oldest part of Barcelona, the heart of the ancient Roman city of Barcino. Some of these streets have existed for more than 2,000 years, layers upon layers of history, each century leaving its mark, each generation adding to the story. We enter through one of the narrow passages that lead from the wider modern boulevards into the labyrinth of the old quarter. The transition is immediate. One moment, we're in 21st century Barcelona. Next, we've stepped back in time. The streets here are paved with smooth, irregular stones, some flat and polished by countless footsteps, others slightly raised, creating a gentle, uneven surface that reminds you to slow down, to watch your step, to be present with each pace. The buildings rise on either side of us, 4 and 5 stories tall, their facades a beautiful patchwork of different eras. Medieval stone walls, weathered and honey-colored, Baroque balconies with wrought iron railings, Gothic arches opening into hidden courtyards, windows with wooden shutters painted in deep greens and blues, some closed against the afternoon sun, others open to catch the evening breeze. The street is narrow, so narrow that if you stretched out your arms, you could almost touch both walls. This creates a sense of intimacy, of being held by the city, rather than simply walking through it. The afternoon light filters down between the buildings at an angle now, creating patterns of brightness and shadow that shift and change as we walk. Golden light illuminates the top floors, while the street level remains in cool, blue shadow. The contrast is beautiful, painterly, like walking through a Vermeer canvas. We pass a small cafe tucked into the ground floor of a medieval building. Through its open door, we see locals sitting at tiny tables, sipping café con leche, reading newspapers, engaged in quiet conversation. The smell of strong coffee and fresh pastries drifts out into the street. Buttery croissants, sugar-dusted ensaimadas, the rich aroma of chocolate churros. Further along, we notice a neighborhood grocery, a tiny shop barely wider than a doorway. Its owner, an elderly man in a white apron, is arranging tomatoes in a wooden crate outside. He looks up as we pass, offers a gentle nod, a small smile. "Buenas tardes," he says softly. "Good afternoon." We return the greeting, feeling welcomed into the neighborhood. The street curves gently and we follow it, not knowing exactly where it leads, trusting the path. This is part of the beauty of the Gothic Quarter. You can wander here without a map, without a destination, simply following whichever street calls to you, and you will always find something beautiful. As we turn a corner, the street opens into a small plaza, Plaza Sant Felip Neri. This square is one of Barcelona's hidden treasures, intimate, peaceful, often overlooked by tourists rushing between more famous landmarks. The plaza is surrounded on all sides by buildings, creating an enclosed, protected space. At its center, a few simple benches surround a fountain. Not a grand fountain, but a modest one, its gentle trickle of water creating a soft, constant sound that fills the quiet square. The church of Sant Felip Neri occupies one side of the plaza. Its Baroque facade is beautiful, but bears the scars of history. Pockmarks from bombings during the Spanish Civil War. A reminder that beauty and sorrow often exist side by side. That peace is precious because it has not always been present. We sit on one of the benches, facing the fountain. The sound of water is soothing, musical. A few pigeons strut across the cobblestones, searching for crumbs. A cat stretches luxuriously in a patch of remaining sunlight before disappearing into a shadowed doorway. The air here is cool, pleasant. The stone buildings have held the day's warmth, but are beginning to release it gently. There's a smell of old stone, of water, of the herbs growing in window boxes above us. Basil, rosemary, mint. A young couple enters the plaza, hand in hand, speaking quietly in Catalan. They sit on a bench opposite us, their heads close together, completely absorbed in each other, oblivious to the world around them. Love in Barcelona feels timeless, as if these same scenes of romance have played out in this plaza for centuries, as if the stones themselves remember. We close our eyes for a moment, just listening. The fountain, the distant sound of footsteps on cobblestones, a guitar being played somewhere, faint and melodic, drifting through an open window, the muffled conversation of the couple, church bells marking the half hour, soft, resonant, neither urgent nor demanding, simply marking time's passage. When we open our eyes, the light has shifted again. The sun is lower now. The golden hour has arrived. The buildings around the plaza are bathed in warm, honeyed light that makes everything glow from within. We rise from our bench and continue our exploration of the Gothic Quarter. The streets wind and twist, revealing surprises at every turn. A Gothic doorway with intricate stone carvings, a medieval well, now decorative but once vital to the neighborhood, a tiny art gallery displaying works by local painters, a shop selling handmade leather goods, the smell of tanned hide and craftsmanship. We pass beneath a stone arch connecting two buildings. These arches are everywhere in the Gothic Quarter, architectural solutions from medieval times that now create wonderful framed views, natural thresholds between one street and the next. And then, ahead of us, we see the spires of Barcelona's great cathedral, the Cathedral of the Holy Cross and Saint Eulalia. Its Gothic towers rise above the surrounding buildings, silhouetted against the softening sky. We make our way toward it, emerging into a large plaza, Plaza de la Seu. The cathedral dominates the space, magnificent and imposing, yet somehow welcoming. Its facade is intricate, every surface carved with saints and angels, biblical scenes, and floral motifs. The late afternoon light plays across these carvings, creating an ever-changing display of light and shadow. The plaza in front of the cathedral is lively, but not chaotic. Street musicians play traditional Spanish guitar. A few artists display their paintings on portable easels. Families stroll across the square, children running ahead while parents follow at a leisurely pace. We haven't entered the cathedral just yet. Instead, we circle around to its side, where we find the cloister entrance. This is one of Barcelona's best-kept secrets, a peaceful haven just steps from the busy plaza. The cloister is open to the sky, a rectangular courtyard surrounded by covered walkways supported by Gothic columns. In the center, a garden grows, orange trees heavy with fruit, palms reaching upward, flowering plants adding splashes of color. A fountain bubbles peacefully, and geese. The cloister is home to 13 white geese, honoring Saint Eulalia, who was martyred at age 13. The geese waddle about the garden, perfectly at home, occasionally honking softly, completely unconcerned with the human visitors who walk quietly around the cloister's perimeter. We find a stone bench in the covered walkway and sit, looking into the garden. The light here is soft, filtered through leaves and lattice. The sound of the fountain mingles with the rustling of the geese, with distant church bells, with the quiet footsteps of other visitors. There's something deeply peaceful about cloisters. They've been designed for contemplation, for rest, for stepping away from the world's demands. For centuries, monks walk these covered walkways, praying, meditating. finding solace in the rhythm of their days. We sit here for several minutes, maybe longer. Time feels different in the Gothic Quarter, less linear, less demanding. We're not rushing toward the next site. We're simply being present, allowing the atmosphere to settle into our bones, allowing the peace of this ancient place to work its quiet magic. When we finally rise and make our way back out into the plaza, the light has changed again. The sun is approaching the horizon. The sky is beginning to show hints of color: pale pink, soft lavender, golden amber. But we're not staying in the Gothic Quarter for sunset. Our next destination awaits, the masterpiece that defines Barcelona more than any other single landmark: La Sagrada Familia. We make our way from the Gothic Quarter toward the Eixample district, where La Sagrada Familia rises like a vision from another world. We could take the metro, but instead, we choose to walk, following the broad Passeig de Gràcia, one of Barcelona's grand boulevards. The Eixample, meaning extension in Catalan, is dramatically different from the medieval quarter we've just left. Here, the streets form a perfect grid, wide and organized, designed in the 19th century as Barcelona expanded beyond its old walls. The buildings along Passeig de Gràcia are elegant, many designed in the modernista style, Art Nouveau, with a distinctly Catalan flavor. As we walk, we pass Casa Batlló and Casa Milà, two of Gaudí's earlier masterpieces, their undulating facades catching the fading light. But we don't stop. We're drawn toward something even more extraordinary. And then we see it. La Sagrada Familia. Even from several blocks away, it commands attention. Its spires reach skyward, impossibly tall and delicate, like organic growths rather than human constructions. As we draw closer, the full scale and complexity of the building reveals itself, and we simply stop walking, overwhelmed by what we're seeing. This is not like any cathedral, any building, any human creation you've ever encountered. This is Gaudí's life work, his obsession, his gift to Barcelona and to the world. He devoted 43 years to this project, the last 12 living on site, refusing all other commissions, pouring every moment of his creative genius into this extraordinary vision. And it's still not finished. Construction began in 1882. Gaudí died in 1926. And still, more than a century later, the work continues, moving slowly closer to completion. We approach from the Nativity facade, the side that Gaudí himself oversaw. As we draw near, we have to tilt our heads back, looking up and up and up at the three massive portals representing faith, hope, and charity. Every surface is carved, sculpted, brought to life. Not the flat, formal imagery of traditional religious art, but something organic, exuberant, overflowing with life. Trees growing from stone, angels singing among the branches, animals, real animals, turtles and chameleons, birds and insects, all rendered in precise, loving detail. The entire facade seems to be growing, reaching, aspiring upward toward heaven. And above it all, 4 spires soar into the sky, their surfaces honeycomb-like with openings, decorated at their peaks with colorful ceramic mosaics. We enter through one of the portals, passing beneath stone that looks more like lace than limestone, and step inside. and the world transforms. The interior of La Sagrada Familia is like being inside a forest, a sacred forest, a forest of stone and light. Gaudí studied nature obsessively. He believed the perfect architect was God, and that nature was God's cathedral. So he designed this space to mimic the experience of standing beneath towering trees in a sunlit forest. The columns, and there are dozens of them, branch-like trees. They're not straight and uniform like classical columns. They're organic, twisting slightly as they rise, then branching at the top into vault supports that spread like the canopy of a forest. And the light. Oh, the light. The walls are not solid stone, but enormous stained glass windows, each one a different color. As the late afternoon sun streams through these windows, the entire interior is suffused with color. Reds and oranges on one side, representing the warmth of sunrise. Blues and greens on the opposite side, evoking the coolness of sunset. The light doesn't just illuminate the space, it transforms it. It breathes life into the stone. It creates an atmosphere that's neither entirely of this world, nor completely apart from it. We walk slowly through the nave, our footsteps echoing softly on the polished stone floor. Other visitors move just as slowly, just as quietly. Everyone here seems to understand that this is not a place for hurrying. This is a place for awe, for wonder, for contemplation. The columns are different colors, some cream, some pink, some deep gray. Gaudí chose different stones based on their structural properties, understanding intuitively what engineers now confirm with mathematics, that this building distributes its enormous weight through these branching columns with perfect efficiency. We find a pew and sit facing the altar. The space is vast, over 90 meters long, 60 meters wide, with the central vault soaring 45 meters overhead. And yet it doesn't feel cold or impersonal. The organic shapes, the warm light, the sense of being embraced by something larger than ourselves. It all creates an atmosphere of intimate grandeur. The light continues to shift and change as the sun moves lower in the sky. The colors deepen, the shadows lengthen. The entire space seems to breathe, to pulse with quiet life. We close our eyes for a moment, just feeling the cool air, the profound silence broken only by occasional whispers and distant footsteps, the sense of peace that great sacred spaces can provide, regardless of your personal beliefs. This is a place where human creativity and spiritual aspiration have combined to create something that touches everyone who enters. When we open our eyes, we notice details we hadn't seen before. The ceiling, impossibly far above, is decorated with geometric patterns, stars and flowers in white and gold. The walls, where they're not all windows, are carved with Latin inscriptions, with religious symbols, with more of those organic, flowing shapes that are Gaudí's signature. Above the altar, a canopy of gold seems to float, suspended by invisible means. Christ on the cross hangs above, but Gaudí's Christ is gentle, not suffering, arms spread in embrace rather than agony. This is resurrection rather than crucifixion, hope rather than despair. We rise and walk toward one of the side chapels. Here, Candles burn in rows, lit by visitors throughout the day. The flickering flames create dancing shadows. The smell of melted wax mingles with the cool stone scent of the cathedral. We pause before the candles, watching their flames, each one a prayer, a hope, a moment of connection between the person who lit it and something greater than themselves. From somewhere in the cathedral, we hear singing, a small choir, practicing for an evening service perhaps. Their voices rise and echo through the vast space, multiplying, harmonizing with themselves, creating layers of sound that seem to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. It's achingly beautiful. The kind of beauty that brings unexpected tears, that touches something deep and usually hidden in the human heart. We make our way slowly back toward the entrance. Before we leave, we turn back one last time, taking in the full vista of this extraordinary space. The branching columns, the rainbow light, the soaring vaults, the sense of being inside something alive, something that grew rather than was built. Gaudí never saw this interior completed. He died when the church was only about a quarter finished, but he had faith. He said, "My client is not in a hurry. His client is God." We step back outside into the early evening. The sun is low now, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. The nativity facade glows in the warm light. The spires reach toward the colorful sky like prayers made visible. We stand for a moment, letting our eyes adjust to the outside world again, letting the experience settle inside us. We've just witnessed one of humanity's most extraordinary achievements, a building that took vision, faith, genius, and over a century of patient work. A building that teaches patience, that teaches us to think in generations rather than years, that reminds us that some things worth creating cannot be rushed. But our evening is not over. Another Gaudí masterpiece awaits us. This one not sacred but playful, not solemn but joyful. Park Güell. We rode on a city bus to our next destination. The people are so friendly during our bus drive. The view of the historic city is carved with beautiful architecture and picturesque colors. We make our way north from La Sagrada Familia, climbing Carmel Hill toward Park Güell. The walk is uphill, but we take it slowly, enjoying the changing perspectives as we rise above the city, as the views expand with each step upward. Park Güell was originally conceived as a garden city, a housing development for Barcelona's wealthy. 60 houses were planned. Only 2 were ever built. But artistically, creatively, it became one of Gaudí's most beloved works. We arrive at one of the park's entrances just as the golden hour is in full glory. The sun, low on the horizon, bathes everything in warm, honeyed light. The park is still open, still welcoming visitors, but the afternoon crowds have thinned. We have space to breathe, to explore, to discover. We begin by climbing the grand staircase that leads from the entrance to the main terrace. The stairs are wide, with landings at intervals, each landing featuring one of Gaudí's whimsical creations. At the first landing, we encounter the famous mosaic salamander, though locals call it the dragon. It's life-sized, covered entirely in broken ceramic tiles, trencadís in Catalan, creating a riot of color. Blues and greens and yellows and reds, all carefully arranged to create scales, to suggest texture, to bring this fantastic creature to life. Water flows from the dragon's mouth, part of the park's complex water management system. The dragon isn't just decorative, it's functional, playful, and beautiful all at once. Pure Gaudí, we continue climbing. At the next landing, a circular stone bench surrounds a space like an amphitheater. More mosaic work decorates every surface. Geometric patterns, organic shapes, fragments of found objects incorporated into the design. And then we reach the top, stepping out onto the nature square. A large, open terrace that offers breathtaking views across Barcelona. Here people pose to take pictures with their loved ones, to capture the amazing views of the city with the artistic masterpiece of Gaudí. But it's the bench that captures everyone's attention. The world's longest bench. A serpentine masterpiece that curves around the entire perimeter of the terrace, following the organic, wave-like shape that Gaudí favored. The bench is completely covered in Trencade's mosaic, thousands upon thousands of broken ceramic pieces fitted together like a giant jigsaw puzzle. The colors are vibrant, blues and greens dominating, punctuated by yellows, oranges, reds, whites, and occasional pieces of glass that catch the light and sparkle. But here's what makes this bench extraordinary. It's not just beautiful, it's comfortable. Gaudí had a workman sit in wet plaster so he could capture the exact contours of the human body, then designed the bench to fit those contours perfectly. The back curves to support your spine. The seat tilts at just the right angle. You can sit here for hours, completely comfortable, just gazing out at the view. We find a section of the bench with a particularly beautiful mosaic, a section where blues transition into greens, where fragments of decorative plates create unexpected patterns, where the craftsmanship is so precise that you have to look closely to see the individual pieces. We sit and immediately feel how the bench cradles us, supports us, invites us to stay. The view is spectacular. Barcelona spreads out before us, the grid of the example clearly visible. The Gothic Quarter, a dense cluster of older buildings. The Mediterranean, a band of deep blue at the horizon. And rising above everything, the spires of La Sagrada Familia, catching the last sunlight, glowing pink and gold. The sky is beginning its transformation from day to evening. The blue overhead is deepening. The horizon glows with color, orange fading to pink, to lavender, to the first hints of twilight purple. A gentle breeze flows across the terrace, cooler now as the sun sinks lower. It carries the scent of the pines that grow throughout the park, mixed with the earthier smell of the forest floor, the green scent of growing things. We lean back against the mosaic bench, feeling its curves support us, and simply gaze out at the city, the sea, and the sky. Other visitors wander the terrace, a family with 2 young children, the kids running along the bench, exclaiming at the mosaics, pointing out faces and patterns they discover in the broken tiles. An elderly couple sitting hand in hand, not speaking, just watching the sunset together. A young artist sketching in a notebook, trying to capture the play of light on the mosaic surfaces. Everyone here seems at peace. There's no rushing, no checking of watches or phones. People have come to this place to experience beauty, to rest, to let Gaudí's vision work its particular magic on their spirits. We rise eventually and wander deeper into the park. The pathways curve organically, following the contours of the hillside rather than imposing straight lines upon it. Columns support the pathways, but they're not uniform, conventional columns. They're designed to look like tree trunks, sometimes leaning at odd angles, sometimes branching, always organic, always surprising. We pass through a covered area called the hypo-style room, a forest of 86 Doric columns supporting a roof decorated with more mosaic medallions. Some columns are straight, some lean, some seem to grow from the ground like stalagmites. The light filtering through the columns creates patterns on the ground, constantly shifting as the sun moves. This space was designed to be a market for the planned housing development. Instead, it's become a place for street musicians. Today, a guitarist sits on a small stool, playing classical Spanish guitar. The music echoes off the columns, fills the space, adds another layer of beauty to an already beautiful place. We stand and listen for a while. The music is melancholic, but not sad. The sound of Spain, passionate and emotional and deeply human. The guitarist's fingers move precisely across the strings, creating melody and harmony simultaneously, making one instrument sound like two or three. When the piece ends, a small crowd that has gathered applauds gently. The guitarist nods in thanks, takes a sip from a water bottle, and begins another piece, equally beautiful. We leave a few coins in his open guitar case and continue our exploration of the park. Everywhere we look, there are surprises. Stone benches that look like waves frozen in time. Pathways that tunnel through the hillside, their ceilings decorated with stalactite-like formations. Viaducts that create covered walkways, their columns at odd angles, but somehow perfectly balanced. And everywhere, that distinctive Trencadís mosaic. Gaudí and his assistant Josep Maria Jujol would use whatever ceramic materials they could find. Broken tiles from tile factories, fragments of cups and plates, even broken dolls' heads in some sections. They would arrange these fragments into patterns, sometimes geometric, sometimes representational, always unique. The park feels like walking through someone's dream, not a nightmare, the opposite. A fever dream of creativity where the rules of conventional architecture have been set aside and replaced with something freer, more joyful, more alive. We find another viewpoint, this one offering a different perspective of Barcelona. The sun is almost at the horizon now. The city is beginning to light up. Street lamps are flickering on. Windows glow with interior light. La Sagrada Familia in the distance is illuminated, its spires standing out against the darkening sky. The air is cooling noticeably now. We're glad we brought a light jacket. But the coolness is pleasant, refreshing after the day's warmth. The breeze continues to flow, rustling through the pine trees, bringing their sharp, clean scent. We sit on another mosaic bench, this one smaller, more intimate, tucked into a quieter corner of the park where few people pass. The bench faces west, toward the sunset, and we watch as the sun finally touches the horizon. The sky is majestic, orange and pink and purple and gold, all blending together, reflecting off the scattered clouds, creating a display that shifts and changes moment by moment. And then, slowly, the sun slips below the horizon. The direct light fades, but the sky continues to glow for long minutes afterward, the colors deepening, becoming richer. Stars begin to appear, just one or two at first, the brightest ones, then more and more as the sky darkens. The city lights below grow brighter, creating their own constellation across the landscape. We've been in Park Güell for over an hour, but it feels like minutes. Time has that quality here, elastic, flowing, measured not by clocks, but by experiences, by moments of beauty and wonder. But the park is closing soon, and our evening is not yet complete. We are now heading over to the beach, the Mediterranean, Barceloneta. We descend from Carmel Hill as twilight deepens into evening. The streets are quieter now, the day's busyness winding down. We make our way toward the sea, toward the old fisherman's quarter of Barceloneta. Barceloneta was built in the 18th century to house families displaced when the old neighborhood was demolished to build a military citadel. The buildings here are distinctive, narrow, uniform, built on a grid that feels different from both the Gothic Quarter's medieval tangle and the Aix-en-Pelles's grand boulevards. We pass through the neighborhood, catching glimpses of local life, a family gathering on a small balcony, dinner plates visible, voices drifting down to the street, an old man sitting outside a bodega, a glass of wine in hand, watching the world pass by. The smell of cooking, garlic and olive oil, fresh fish being grilled, the yeasty scent of bread, and then, between buildings, we catch our first glimpse of it. The Mediterranean. We quicken our pace slightly, drawn by that ancient human attraction to water, to the edge of land, to the place where the solid world meets something vast and mysterious. We emerge onto the Passeig Maritime, the beachfront promenade, and there it is, Barceloneta Beach, stretching for over a kilometer, wide and golden, meeting the dark water of the evening sea. The beach is still occupied, but not crowded. The afternoon sunbathers have mostly gone. What remains are locals, people who live here, who come to the beach not as tourists, but as a daily practice, a rhythm of life. We remove our shoes, feeling the sand between our toes. It's still warm from the day's sun, though cooling now in the evening air. The sensation is immediately grounding, connecting us to this place, to this moment. We walk toward the water's edge, where the sand is firmer, slightly damp from the last wave's reach. The Mediterranean is calm tonight, gentle waves rolling in with a soft, rhythmic sound. Swish, swish, swish. Not the crash and roar of ocean surf, but something softer, more peaceful, more like breathing. The water is dark now, reflecting what little light remains in the sky. The horizon is a barely visible line between sea and sky, both the same deep blue-gray. A few boats are visible in the distance, their lights beginning to glow, small points of warmth in the vast darkness. We walk along the water's edge, letting the waves occasionally wash over our feet. water is cool but not cold, refreshing against our skin. Each wave brings the smell of the sea, salt and seaweed, and something indefinable, something primal that speaks to the ancient parts of our brains that remember when all life came from the ocean. Along the beach, chiringuitos, beach bars, are lighting up, their terraces glowing warmly, music drifting out, laughter and conversation creating a pleasant hum that blends with the sound of the waves. We can see people at these bars, sitting at tables right on the sand, drinking cerveza or sangria, sharing plates of patatas bravas or gambas al chilo. The Spanish art of living is on full display, taking time, sharing food, enjoying the simple pleasures of good company and good weather. The promenade is busy with walkers. This is the paseo, the evening stroll that is a cornerstone of Spanish culture. Families walk together, 3 generations sometimes, the elderly moving slowly but determinedly, the young children running ahead and circling back. Couples walk hand in hand. Friends walk in small groups, animated conversations punctuated by gestures and laughter. We continue walking, enjoying the sensation of sand, of cool water, of the evening breeze that flows steadily off the sea. There's something deeply therapeutic about walking beside water, something that quiets the mind, that slows the internal chatter, that allows you to simply be present with the sound of waves, the feel of sand, the vast open space of the sea. We pass a group of young people playing volleyball, their game lit by the promenade lights. Their shouts and laughter are joyful, unself-conscious. They're completely absorbed in the game, in the moment, in the simple pleasure of play. Further along, we see an elderly couple sitting on the sand, their chairs side by side, facing the sea. They're not speaking, just sitting, watching, being together in comfortable silence. They might have been coming to this spot every evening for years, for decades. It's their ritual, their way of marking the day's end. We find our own spot to sit, a section of beach where we can lean back against the sloping sand, where we can see both the sea ahead and the lights of Barcelona behind. We settle in, feeling the sand conform to our shape, supporting us. The sky is fully dark now. Stars are visible, though not as many as we saw from Park Güell. The city lights create too much ambient light, but the brightest stars are there, points of light, impossibly distant, yet somehow present, somehow connected to this moment on this beach. The moon is rising, waxing crescent, hanging just above the horizon. Its reflection creates a silver path across the water, shimmering and dancing with the waves. The ancient moon road, leading out to the infinite. The sound of the waves continues, constant and soothing. Swish, swish, swish. Like breathing, like a heartbeat. Like the earth itself reminding us that we're alive, that we're here, that this moment is real and precious. The temperature is perfect now, cool enough to be refreshing, warm enough to be comfortable. The breeze continues to flow, bringing the scent of salt, of seaweed, of the vast ocean beyond this small Mediterranean sea. We close our eyes, just listening. Waves, distant laughter, Music from the chiringuitos, the soft sound of sand being scattered by the breeze, the cry of a seagull somewhere in the darkness. When we open our eyes, we notice more stars have appeared. The sky is deepening from dark blue to black. The lights of the city behind us create a warm glow against the night. We've been sitting here for 15 or 20 minutes, maybe longer, but we're not ready to leave the beach quite yet. There's something magnetic about this place, about the boundary between land and sea, about the eternal rhythm of waves that will continue long after we're gone. But eventually, drawn by the growing chill and by hunger, we rise, brushing sand from our clothes. We put our shoes back on after walking barefoot. We make our way back toward the promenade, toward the lights and warmth of the beachfront establishments. It's time for the most Spanish of activities. Time for tapas. We walk along the Passeig Marítim until we find a traditional tapas bar that catches our eye. We found a local spot where the menu is handwritten in Catalan, where the clientele are neighborhood people, where the atmosphere is authentic. El Vaso de Oro. The name is painted on the window in simple letters. Through the open door, we can see a long, narrow space, crowded but not packed, buzzing with conversation and laughter, warm and welcoming. We step inside. Immediately, we're enveloped by the atmosphere. The bar runs along the left side of the room, crowded with locals standing, drinking, eating, talking animatedly. Small tables line the right side, most occupied. But we spot one near the back that's just being cleared by a waiter. The waiter sees us, gestures toward the table. We make our way through the crowd, excusing ourselves, smiling at the people who shift to let us pass. The table is tiny, barely big enough for two, but it's perfect. We sit on simple wooden chairs, our knees almost touching under the small table, creating an intimacy that feels comfortable, natural. The menu is a single sheet of paper, handwritten, changed daily based on what's fresh, what's in season, what the chef feels like preparing. It's entirely in Catalan, but the waiter appears, sees our momentary confusion, and with a warm smile begins to explain in accented but clear English. "Today is very good," he says. "Very fresh. I recommend the pulpo, the octopus, also the gambas al ajillo, the garlic shrimp, and you must try the pan con tomate. It is simple, but perfect." We nod, trusting his recommendations. He jots notes on a small pad. "And to drink? A bottle of Albarino, please." "Ah, excellent choice. From Galicia. Very nice with the seafood." He disappears into the controlled chaos of the bar, calling our order toward the kitchen in rapid Catalan. The restaurant around us is alive. Everyone seems to be talking at once, but it's not overwhelming. It's energizing, joyful. The sound of people thoroughly enjoying themselves, enjoying food and wine and each other's company. This is the Spanish way. Meals are not fuel stops. They're social events. They're important. They're where relationships are built and maintained, where stories are told, where life is truly lived. Our wine arrives first. The waiter shows us the bottle, pours a small amount for tasting. The wine is pale gold, almost green, We tasted. Crisp, slightly saline, with notes of citrus and stone fruit. Perfect for seafood. We nod approval, and he fills our glasses. We touch our glasses together gently. Salud, we say. To health. The first dish arrives. Pan con tomate, bread with tomato. It sounds so simple, but like many simple Spanish dishes, the magic is in the execution, in the quality of ingredients, in the respect for tradition. Thick slices of toasted bread, rubbed with raw garlic, then topped with grated tomato, a drizzle of excellent olive oil, and a sprinkle of sea salt. That's it. Nothing more. We take a bite. The bread is crusty outside, soft inside. The tomato is sweet and acidic and fresh. The garlic adds a subtle sharpness. The olive oil brings richness. The salt enhances everything. It's perfect. Absolutely perfect. The taste of the Mediterranean, of Spain itself. We eat slowly, savoring each bite, sipping our wine between mouthfuls. There's no rush. Time works differently here. The Spanish eat dinner late. 9, 10, 11 o'clock is normal, and they linger over their meals, sometimes for hours. The pulpo arrives next. Tender octopus, grilled until slightly charred, cut into rounds, drizzled with olive oil and dusted with paprika, served on a wooden board with a few slices of potato. The octopus is perfectly cooked, tender but with a slight resistance to the bite, the char adding a smoky flavor that complements the natural sweetness of the octopus. Each bite is an exercise in texture and flavor, simple but sophisticated. The gambas al ajillo follow, 6 large shrimp, sizzling in a small terracotta dish, swimming in olive oil infused with garlic and red pepper flakes. The smell alone is intoxicating. Garlic and seafood and that particular aroma of good olive oil, heated to just the right temperature. We spear a shrimp with our fork, dip bread into the garlicky oil, and eat them together. The shrimp is sweet, firm, and perfectly cooked. The oil is rich, garlicky, with a pleasant hint of heat from the pepper flakes. The bread soaks up the oil, carrying all those flavors in each bite. Around us, the restaurant continues its evening rhythm. The bar is 3 deep now, people standing shoulder to shoulder, ordering rounds of beer and more tapas. The conversations rise and fall, punctuated by laughter, by the clink of glasses, by the occasional shout from the kitchen. An elderly man sits at the bar, a glass of red wine in front of him, reading a newspaper. He seems oblivious to the chaos around him, completely comfortable, completely at home. This is probably his routine. The same stool, the same wine, the same newspaper. Every evening, a group of young women celebrate something at a nearby table, their laughter infectious, their joy spilling over onto everyone around them. The waiter stops by our table. More wine? We nod. He refills our glasses, asks if we want anything else. We ordered one more dish, albondigas, Spanish meatballs, and tomato sauce. Very good choice, he approves. The meatballs arrive, 4 of them, nestled in a rich tomato sauce, steaming hot. We cut it into one. The interior is tender, seasoned with herbs and spices. The sauce is slightly sweet, acidic, and perfectly balanced. We're not hungry anymore. We're satisfied. But we continue eating slowly, not because we're still hungry, but because the food is good, the wine is good, the atmosphere is good, because this is what Spanish culture teaches, that meals are not just about nutrition. They're about pleasure, about connection, about living fully in the present moment. We finish our wine, finish the last of the meatballs, soak up the remaining sauce with the last piece of bread. The waiter appears, asks if we want dessert, coffee. We decline gently. We're content, complete. As we leave the restaurant, the waiter thanks us warmly, wishing us a good evening. Buenas noches. We make our way back through the crowded bar, out into the evening. The air feels fresh after the warmth and closeness of the restaurant. The sound of the sea is immediately present again. We're only steps from the beach. And so our peaceful evening in Barcelona comes to its natural end. We've walked through medieval streets where Romans once trod. We've stood in awe beneath Gaudí's forest of stone. We wandered through mosaic dreamscape at sunset. We've walked barefoot on Mediterranean sand. We've shared in the Spanish ritual of tapas, wine, and unhurried conversation. But more than any specific place, we've touched something deeper. We've experienced the Spanish art of living. The understanding that life is not a race to be won, but a gift to be savored. That beauty exists not just in grand monuments, but in simple pleasures. That time spent in good company, over good food, doing nothing of obvious importance, is actually the most important thing we can do. Barcelona has taught us to slow down, to pause, to be present, to embrace the philosophy of poco a poco. Little by little, step by step, moment by moment. As you lie here now in your bed, carry this Spanish wisdom with you. There's no need to rush. Know where you need to be. Nothing you need to prove or accomplish. Just let go. Let the images of Barcelona drift through your mind. The Gothic stones, the colored light, the mosaic tiles, the gentle waves, the taste of wine, oil, and garlic. Let the rhythm of the Mediterranean lull you, like breathing, like sleep approaching in gentle waves. Your body knows how to rest. Your mind knows how to quiet. The day is done. Evening has fully arrived. And you can simply drift now into peace, into rest, into sleep. Buenas noches, dear traveler. Good night. Sleep well.